So let's do it. I'm going to head into Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to head into my winter 2023 folder where I put all my stuff. Today is the last day of February, right? 28, 2023. And I'm going to head into that folder because I talk when I do things, you know me. And I'm going to code our first example for today. I'm going to call it re_demo_1.py. Regular expressions. Now, I know, like Aiden, right? You've worked with regular expressions, and I think Keith has, and maybe some of you have done this in the past. So bear with me. This is only kind of the second time I've ever really taught it, but I think I'm pretty good at it. So let's begin. re_demo1.py. So let's say you had a string that had some stuff, all right? And let's say that string contained the letter A, okay? There we go. It contains the letter A. Now, if we wanted to verify that that string, right, that variable called stuff, had a letter in it, right, a character, right, we could probably do something like if, well, we need to make sure the length of it is exactly equal to 1, right? And we need to check to see if stuff, right? What's the string method to check whether something is an alpha? Is it a letter? Anyone remember? Is it is_alpha or
Is
No,
alpha.
just alpha.
yeah,
Just
see, I
no
always want to
underscore.
put an underscore, right? So we could do things like this, and then we can print, yes, it matches, right, the fact that we want a single character. Else we could say print, right, no match. It's not matching our single letter here. So let's give this a whirl, right? Let's say Python re_demo_1.py. And it says match down here in the terminal, right? There it is. It's match, right? And if I make this like the lowercase letter a, it's going to do it, right? Match. If I put in a number there, right, it's going to say no match, right? And if I say like AB, right, we are not going to match because our conditional that we wrote is expecting the length of it to be 1, right? So just understand now, what if I said to you, I want to have 2 letters here and then 2 numbers, right? So you could write a conditional that's going to check to see if the length is 4 and the first 2 characters are alpha, right? And the last 2 characters are digits, right? But as you go and want to expand on, like, the formatting of this, like you want 2 letters and 2 numbers, by you having to write additional code using conditionals or however you may do it, it's going to get fairly complicated fairly quickly. All right. And don't get me wrong, you could code your butt off if you're into, writing code, or if you're getting paid by the line of code or whatever. But just know that in programming, there's this concept of what are called regular expressions. And what these are, it's a way for you to match patterns, like I said here, where you want the first 2 things to be letters, and then you want the second 2 to be numbers, right? Or maybe you want the first character to be a lowercase letter and the next one an uppercase letter. Maybe you want a dash there, but maybe you don't. If Nolan types in a dash, okay, we'll take it. But if Becky doesn't, we'll take that too. So again, imagine having to code what I just said using what knowledge we know of Python. It's going to get complex really quickly, all right? So given that, okay, given that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just comment this stuff out here, and we're going to go back to our character right there, that single character, all right? And what I'm going to do now is at the top here, there is a library in Python called RE for regular expressions. It's built in, it's just hiding away. It needs to be imported into your code if you want to use it, okay? Coffee break, all right. And what we can do now is we'll employ the same structure of matching and not matching. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say RE is the name of the library. And then there's this function, this method called search. Okay, this regular expression has this method called search. And right now we're going to leave it blank. And we're going to print if it's true. If this evaluates to true, just like here, if this evaluated to true, we're going to print match. So check it out, match, right? Else, we're going to print no match, okay? No match, okay? So how do we get our search function here to test whether there is a single character right here? So check this out. Inside of the search, it takes several parameters, okay? The first is going to be what we call the pattern that we want it to match. And just for now, we're going to type in the letter lowercase r in 2 quotes like I have there. And we'll talk about this in a moment. And then a comma, and then the variable, right, that we want to test, which is stuff, okay? There's going to be a third one we'll add in a little while. But right now, we see this letter R here. And this letter R, you can actually use this in a print as well. But what R does is, you know how you've seen when we put /n inside of like a print or something like that? When you have an R in front of it, that means raw, R-A-W. And that's going to, anything we put inside of those quotes, it's not going to try to evaluate it like normal Python would, right? /n is a new line. When in our regular expressions, right, we are going to be using slashes, right? This is a /, this is a backslash, right? We are going to be using them, and that R tells Python just to interpret those as regular characters. Don't try to do /n like we know from yesterday, all right? Anyone have any questions so far about where we're at? Feel free to speak up. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, no questions, right? So inside, right, of those quotation marks is where we are going to build stuff that's going to match the pattern that we want, the desired pattern. And right there, right, just for now, right, I'm going to type right here a dot, okay, a dot, just a dot, a period, right? I'm going to go to the terminal, right, and I am going to run it. And you'll notice that it says that we have a match, okay? You'll notice that we have a match. So Python is determining that, yes, there is, right, a character there. It's not checking right now, as you'll soon see, whether it's an A or a, let me do it right now. Let's do a 1. Let's do a 1. All right, it says it's matching 2. Okay, what about a space here instead of the number 1? What happens when we do that? It still says match. So just know that while this is evaluating to true, if I really wanted to test whether or not Chris had put a letter in there, right? My test is not giving us, it won't give us valid results. In fact, if I type Chris in there as the value for stuff, you'll notice that it still comes up and says match, okay? Because in a regular expression, this dot means any character. In fact, this regular expression here means unlimited number of any character, all right? Because what this is checking for is any character appearing in the string, and C is a character, H is a character, R is a character, I is a character, S is a character. So it's like, oh yeah, they're all characters, and it's printing out that it matches. But again, falling back to the fact that we only want to test to see if it has one character, then we need to add some more syntactical sugar or Splenda if you don't eat sugar, right? In here to make it recognize that we want to start looking at the beginning of the string. So I'm typing this caret on my keyboard. It's shift 6. And at the end, we're going to put a $sign. And I'm going to explain this because already some of you are like, oh my gosh, that's totally cryptic. Like there's something, going on here, right? But watch carefully. Watch carefully. I'm going to hit the up arrow, Bob, and then I'm going to hit enter. And now it says match. All right, cool. But if I now put a second letter in the variable for stuff, I put CH, you'll notice that now our regular expression is evaluating to false. That's because this caret is telling the regular expression to start its pattern matching at the beginning of the string, and it goes to the end of the string. So it says start at the beginning of what you're trying to test, which is the variable stuff, and then look for one character, and then look for the end of the string. So when I just go back to C, and we start here at the beginning of the string, there's one character, which is this right here, and then it's the end of the string. So if we run it again, it says match, because again, that regular expression is matching that one character. In fact, if we change that one character to a 1, right, it's still going to work. It's still going to say match. We still haven't figured out yet how to match a single non-digit character or a space or a plus sign, right? Watch this. Match, okay? So again, we're checking for one character. As soon as we enter 2 characters, again, we're going to fail. We're not going to get a match because it's not matching. Look for that one character. So let me stop here for a second and see if there are any questions while I chug down some coffee. Aiden, are you okay so far with the way I'm explaining regular expressions? I think Aiden is here.
Yeah.
All right, you sure?
I think so. I don't
All
know
right.
why. It's been a while.
Yeah, these things are tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
These things are really tough. And when I taught this last quarter, I had, some people who knew the JavaScript programming language, and, they appreciated the way that I approached regular expression. So again, we're starting off We're starting off simple, but we will get, we'll get more complex. Becky, you okay so far?
So far, yeah.
All right. Okay.
Even though it is kind of cryptic at first.
Yeah, it's very cryptic. All right, Dennis, how you doing, Dennis? I see you're here. I see Mark is here. Nolan, Martin. Everything okay so far?
Yeah, it makes sense so far.
Yeah. Okay. So how do we now, right? Like, what if we do this? What if we put 2 dots? Do you think now we're going to print match, or are we going to print no match? Anyone want to take a guess? What are we going to get here?
Match.
All right. So Chris says match. Nikita says match. And yes, we have a match, right? Because it's looking for 2 characters, right? 2 characters. In fact, what if we just did this? What if we just did that? Match or no match? Match. But if we change this to lowercase c and we do this, no match. So we can put the characters that we want to match in our quote unquote regular expression here, right? These 2 things right here. We can do that, right? And I'm just showing you, all right? But again, we at this point are, right, looking for an uppercase C and a lowercase h. So before we go any further, I'm going to add a 3rd parameter right there after stuff. Okay. I'm going to do comma RE dot all uppercase, ignore, excuse me, case. This is kind of what we call a flag, which is saying, hey, regular expression engine, I want you to ignore the case of the string that you're testing. And you remember, right, back a day or a week ago or 2 or 3 or 4 weeks ago where we used dot lower, dot upper, dot caseful, whatever it may have been, to get so we could do matching of cases, but built right into the regular expression engine in Python, right? It gives us the ability to ignore a case. So now that I have capital C and capital H, and I want to test this CH lowercase, I'm going to guess that, I'm going to guess that when I run this, it's going to say match. And it does, because it's ignoring the cases. In fact, I could yell CH like that and do this, and it also matches, right? So start to think about, like, even this. Remember that there was a problem that's due tomorrow called lines of code or something like that. I think it was lines of code or something like that. Remember how it wanted you to not count lines of code that had a comment character at the beginning, right? Or blank lines. So just keep in the back of your head that we could probably use a regular expression to test each line to see if it starts with, right, a hash sign or a blank, and just use a regular expression to do it. Oops, look at that. Nikita, why'd you make my code space reboot? Didn't that happen last week in class to me?
Yeah, I did as well.
Yeah, I saw that GitHub was having a few issues, but yeah. Okay, let's relaunch it here and see what happens. That means drink coffee. That means drink coffee. All right, let's see. So far, I'm hanging in there, Becky, just so you know. All right. That was bizarre. All right, so let's go back. Let's go back to my winter 2023 CD. Winter, still loading. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, oh, wow. How'd that happen? I'm going to retype this, okay? Caret, $, dollars, $. I got to look at the keyboard. Okay, $, and then I had CH. I believe this is where we were at, like this, and then we had the variable, and then we had the flag re.ignore case, okay? And we saw, right, that when we had ignore case, let me just run this just to make sure. Python re demo 1.py, right? Whoa. Thank you. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, so what we still have to address the fact that we only want one character, right? We only want one letter. All right. So check this out. We want one letter. Now, there are multiple ways to do this, please know, and I'm going to show you the way that I like to explain it. So let's say you want to have one letter that's in the alphabet of letters from A to Z, okay? So check this out. We want to start the search, the matching at the beginning of the string stuff. And then these square brackets, okay? It's not a list, it's just the syntax of regular expressions. And then we want to check to make sure it's a character, A to Z, and we are ignoring case. So this, anyone want to take a guess? Match or no match?
Match.
Match. There it is, right? Match. All right. But as soon as I enter, like, we'll go back to the Chris example, right? CH, lowercase h, we are going to fail. Okay. Because we want to start at the beginning of the string, find one character that's the letters A through Z, and then we should be at the end of the string. So it did that here, and then it went to the second character and it said, nope, we're not expecting you. So we fell through to no match, right? Because this didn't evaluate to true. It didn't evaluate to checking that we only had a single letter. So as you could imagine, we could repeat again, A through Z and these brackets like this. And now it's saying start at the beginning of the string, then look for one character, the letters A through Z, and do the same here. And then you should be at the end of the string. So let's run it again. Up arrow. And we get a match. But as soon as we forget one of them, right? No match. As soon as we enter one more that we want to check, right? Again, we don't get a match because we're explicitly looking here for two characters. So think about, right, going back to how we started off today, and if you really needed to create, right, some Python code that went through a variable one character at a time and check to make sure that only the first two letters were in fact, while the string was 2 letters long, and that they were the characters A through Z, okay? So what if, just for now, right? What if we wanted to check that somebody entered in 2 letters with a dash between them, just like this, a dash, right? So let's see. let's go C-H, right? So the first character is going to be a letter A through Z. The second character is going to be a dash. And then the third character is A through Z, right? So check it. We match. And if I get rid of that and I just make it a space, I think you're all going to guess, Martin, you're going to guess that it is no match. Okay. So Keith, you okay so far, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. You know, I was always afraid of regular expressions, like up until like a year ago. You know, I always said, oh, you know, it's because I didn't take the time to learn them, right? I saw them and I got afraid of it. You know, I had a bias towards regular expressions and a lot of other coding things too. But there you go. Now, Becky's going to say Bruce, because Becky is telling us what to do here as far as the pattern that she wants to match, right? So she wants to make, right? Let me just zoom in here for a second. Hold on one second. Okay, hold on one second. I just want to show you. Becky's like, Bruce, we will take either a dash between the first two characters or nothing. So wait a second. So Becky says, Bruce, we'll accept C-H or any two letters separated by an H, or we'll just take two letters. So as you can suspect, now our regular expression is going to grow in complexity a little bit. So I just said, actually, Becky told me that dash right there is optional, right? It's optional, right? So we want our regular expression to be able to, yes, check to see if it's there. And if it's not there, like that, we'll also accept it. So in regular expressions, if you follow something by a question mark, that will make the thing that precedes it, in this case, the dash, optional. So let's test it. Okay, we get a match because the dash is there. But let's say again, we don't have the dash there and we run it. We also get a match because we said that the dash is optional. And if we put a space in there, no match, because it's not a dash and it's not a dash, right? It's not a dash. In this situation, we want a dash to be there, all right? Again, we're keeping our patterns relatively, kind of straightforward right now, okay? Again, the letters A through Z. And by the way, if you wanted to only have capital letters like this, right? And you remove this ignore case, right? So what this is going to say is that the first letter needs to be capital. It may be followed by a dash, and the second letter needs to be lowercase. So match or no match? Match or no match?
No match.
Chris says no match. He is correct. What if I do that? Match or no match?
That's a match.
That's a match. Exactly. What about that?
That's also a match.
Very good. But as soon as we break what the pattern wants, like CH right now, right? no match. Okay. And that's because I took off the ignore case at the end, and I'm telling it I want a capital letter, and then I want the a dash, which is optional, and then I want one lowercase letter. Okay. In
Bruce,
fact, yeah, go ahead, Chris.
So like obviously the dash is optional. So basically what the program's looking for is if there is a space between, you know, the first spot and the second spot, it has to be a dash.
That's correct.
Okay,
That's
thank
correct.
you.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. And just know these will get, you know, more complex, but we're just starting off with our little example here. Now, what if, right? Again, we'll keep this like this. We'll keep it a capital letter, and then the dash may be optional. And what about Chris like this, or Chris like that? We're just playing on names here. Look at this, RIS, right? RIS. Now we could, right? That's 3 more letters, right? We could do something like this, right? We could say this, right? Right? We could do something like that, right? That should match. Let me try this, right? Let me try this. No match. Let me just do this again. So capital, and then
Yeah, you need one more A through Z.
oh, thank you, Nolan. A through Z. You're right. I can count. Okay. And now we get a match, right? So we're matching the capital C, capital letter right here. We can maybe move the dash if we want to, and we should get a match again. Yeah, right? Because the dash is optional. But now you see A through Z, A through Z, A through Z, A through Z, right? And it has to be like a word that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters long, right? So here's the capital C, the dash is optional, then the H, then the R, then the I, then the S. So what about BRUCE? Match or no match?
No match because the B is in capital.
Right. So now if we go to the B and we make it capital, match or no, I sound like a game show host. Match or no match? Match. Okay. But again, this is only working for names that have 5 letters, and names that have a dash, right? May or may not have a dash as the second character. So look, still matches. Okay. I know. Like imagine like an hour ago, if I said to you, what are these things, right? Do you think now you'd have a little better idea of kind of what's going on here? Maybe just a little about, you know, what those things mean? Yeah. All right. Let me just make sure my head's okay, cool. So again, we're just working our way through regular expressions here. Okay. So what can you tell me about these things right here? What can you tell me about them? How many lowercase letters A through Z are there? How many?
4.
4. So I'm going to show you that I could say in a regular expression that I want 4 A through Z's. So already you can see how all these weird characters like mixed together here are a part of the regular expression syntax. So we're looking for a capital letter and then a dash, which may or may not be required, and then lowercase letters, but 4 of them. In fact, let's try this for a second. So there's the capital letter and then RUCE, right? So this, if I clear it, we get a match, which is cool. If I get rid of the dash, which is optional, we should still get a match, right? But what if I get rid of the E? Brooke. Let's see what happens. No match. Why is it no match? Someone want to tell me why they think now it's no match?
Because now you only have 4 characters and you need 5 characters.
Well, yeah, well, be a little bit more specific. I was looking for 4 lowercase letters.
Right. You don't have 4 lowercase letters is what I meant.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. So what about Bruce is, right? If I add an S on there, I'm looking for 4 and I got 5. So that's not going to be a match. So what if I wanted to have at least 3 and no more than 10? Do you think now Bruce's is going to match?
I think it's going to.
Okay. What about Bruce's pizza with no space? Match or no match?
I don't think so because the capital P.
Right. Okay. So what if we go lowercase p? Match or no match? We get a match, right? Because we want at least 3, but no more than 10 lowercase letters after the dash that may or may not have to be there. So check this out. Here we go. Capital letter. Let me just turn on the glass here, all right? So capital letter, hello, here we go. Capital letter, A through Z, there it is. An optional dash, there it is. And then lowercase letters, A through Z, a minimum of 3 and no more than 10. So R-U-C-E is 4. The S is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, let me do that again. It's really hard. Let me just do it with my mouse here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So we're allowing for up to 10 characters, but if I put an S at the end there, which makes it 11, let's go to the console, the terminal, and the match fails. So these, like, you know, these from F strings, right? These curly braces, these curly brackets, allow you to specify how many of something you want or need. And I can say, what happens if I say, can I say 0 to 10? Let's try that. Let's try that. No match. Okay, let's get rid of that S. Let's try it now. Match, right? Let's put just that, 0 to 10, right? So we're saying 0 to 10 lowercase letters, which may appear after the dash. Here I go. Match, right? Even if I get rid of this now, match, but as soon as I type in like Bruce space Elgort, right? Match or no match?
No match.
Why?
The capital E is for 1.
Okay, the capital E again. What about now?
It's the space.
Yeah. So now, right, we said A through Z, right? Right? A through Z, right? And not like a space, right? So just know, right, that here we're looking for A through Z, 0 to 10, which starts right here. But that one little space there is causing us some grief because we're only looking for lowercase letters. So I want to just see something here. Could I say the letters A through Z or a space? Let me try this. Hold on one second. I wasn't ready to go here, but okay. So hold on. So I said, actually, hold on one second. A through Z. Okay, we'll come back to the space. I just I wasn't ready to go there yet, but we do need to be able to handle a space. And right now, right, we can't. We're not getting a match. Okay. So let's open up. Actually, let's just continue with this one example. It just makes things easier. Okay. So let's get rid of our friend the dash for now. Okay. That optional dash. Okay. And let's say that we want to have a first and last name. Okay. So what if we want to have, let's put the, this back, re.ignore case. Okay, let's ignore the case. And for now, let's just go back to A through Z. Okay, A through Z. And we're going to put A through Z again, right? But we want to have here like somebody's first name and their last name separated by a space. But right now, this is only going to work if I do something like this, because it's one character, a space, right? And then the letters A through Z. So Nolan, match or no match?
I'll assume it's a match.
You're correct. Okay. But what this is not going to work for is this now, Bruce Elgort, right? It's going to be no match, right? Because we're only looking for A through Z here, or A through Z. Okay. So how do we get, right, the ability for someone to type in two words, whether they're first and last name or two words of any length, right, separated by a space? There is this character. Let me just go to my notes here so to show you, right? So we saw the dot earlier, which means any character except a new line. And then we saw, well, we didn't see an asterisk yet, which means 0 or more repetitions. But look at this. If we put a plus sign, we can get one or more repetitions of the thing that precedes it. So if we go here and put a plus sign and a plus sign here, I see something in the chat that I missed. Sorry about that. So sorry, Mr. Bruce, for being late. Yelzavita, you're here. We celebrate lateness. Bring cake next time, all right? So, match or no match? Who wants to take a guess? Match or no match with the current?
Match.
Nolan, you're on fire. Look at that. Match. Okay. See that? Match. Now, so is everyone kind of starting to see? Let me just go over it again. We start at the beginning of the string. We start matching at the beginning of the string. We accept any letter A through Z, right? And then this plus sign says one or more of these. And then we have a space here. And by the way, a better way to represent a space would be /s, like this, okay? /s. And let me just test this one more time, okay? This right here, this /s means a space. It's a little bit more meaningful than just that. So put a space in there, and then any letter A through Z and one or more of those. Okay. So this will test in our case for, two words separated by a space. As soon as I do this, match or no match? Nolan, you can't answer. You've match or no match?
No match.
Chris says no match. Yeah, no match. Chris, what about that?
No match. You needed space.
Yeah, that's right. And what about that? Nope. Chris is like, Bruce, you need a space. I just said it. Exactly, right? So as soon as we put that space in there, right, we will begin the expression, right? We'll evaluate to true, and it will show us match. Okay. The time at the tone is 11:28. Let's go for 5 more minutes, and then we'll take our break here. So I don't know about you. I'd rather write a regular expression, right, than have to write conditionals, right? Yes, it takes a little getting used to. Yes, we've covered like a lot so far. But what about like numbers? What now if Chris is our new boss, and Chris is like, well, we need to have like 3 numbers at the end. Maybe it's their 3-digit employee number or something like that, right? So what do we need to like add to our regular expression here? We haven't talked about numbers, but knowing what we know here, what do we need right after that plus sign, which is going to be, so tell my fingers what to type, Nolan?
/s.
/s, whoops, then what? We need 3 numbers. So 0 through 9. And I said 3. How do I do that?
With curly brackets or braces, whatever they're called, put 3 in it.
Yeah, and then what? Closing.
Yeah, close it.
All right. Wow, right? So look at this jumble of like what, right? But again, if you looked at this now, A through Z, 1 or more, a space, and then the letters A through Z, 1 or more, a space, and then the number 0 through 9. Oh, and we want 3 of them. Then we should be at the end of the string. So let's run it. Let's clear. Let's run it, and we get a match. But if we only have 2 numbers, right, we get no match. And if we have 4 numbers, we get no match.
So if you wanted the 0 through 9 to go, forever, could you put a plus instead of a bracket? Well, not bracket, but print. Whatever.
Yeah. So Keith asks a great question. So let me just show everyone right here. Come on, right here, right? So Keith is like, Bruce, what if you wanted, is 3 the minimum, Keith?
I think that's the maximum, right?
So right now it's the maximum, but do you want like this? Do you want to have just like any set of numbers after?
Right.
All right. So that, right, this will match, right? Let's do it. This will match, right? And if I 360 771 8819, right? Match, right? Here we go. There it is, match, right? But as soon as I add maybe like a letter A anywhere in here, right? That little lowercase a, it's going to break the pattern matching. No match. But Keith, if you wanted to have like at least 2 and up to 12, you could do that. You could say, actually, let me do at least three numbers. So we can go back to our 360. That's going to match, and any number that's up to 12 in length will work. Here we go. Match. If I go down to 2 numbers, I'm requiring minimum of 3, we're going to get no match. Am I the only one who loves regular expressions? I suck at math and I suck at logic, but I love regular expressions. So, Evan, what are you thinking about regular expressions so far? Random call out.
Pretty good. Just pretty new to me, so I'm just kind of following along for now.
Is there any part that kind of like you have a question about? That's just which is the most confusing part about regular expressions so far? Let's just go there.
I don't think I have like any specific questions now. It's just going to be like practicing it and getting used to the formatting.
Until you have to match a pattern, right? That's one of the problem sets, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Becky, how about you? And then I'll ask Carolina. Becky, how about you?
So far, it is making sense, but again, once you try to put it into practice, it'll be like, what?
Yeah, it's always that way,
Yeah, but this actually is. I understand, as long as I can find all the proper formatting. That is,
and that's what it is. That's what it really is. And I think it was Aiden who stated on last Thursday's class, there's an actual site called, I use regex101.com, and there's a site where you can actually not have to write any Python, but just write a regular expression and tell it the pattern you're trying to match, and it'll tell you whether you coded it right or wrong. And I'll show that on Thursday, right?
Yeah, Help Copilot also works for that.
It does. That's true as well. So if you're using Copilot, which doesn't work in VS Code on the web right now, at least for this class, right? It does work if you're running Visual Studio Code locally, right? So, and again, Nikita, most of my students in other classes have turned that off because it gets overly annoying. So, all right. The time is 11:35. I'll see you at 11:45, back for more fun with regular expressions. So I'm going to pause now. All right, we are back from break, and Becky was asking, and Bob, about Loom videos. So here is, let me let Evan back in. Here is a video that I recorded for a student this morning, all right? So there it is, right? But up in the upper right, there are some ellipses, and you have the ability to download the video. And if you click on download, it's going to say, hey, where do you want to save it? I'll save mine on my desktop. And then if I look on my desktop, right, I have that video right here, okay? All right, so I would then just upload that video to YouTube, and I would set it to be unlisted, right, such that the world couldn't see it, but people with the URL to the YouTube video could.
oh, okay, that's perfect then.
Yeah. All right, we are back. So Bob, are you cool now with that?
Yep.
All right. And just let me know if I can help. All right. So, woo, we are back, right? We are back with our pattern matching, and we wound up like adding at the end, right? These numbers, right? We wanted maybe they'd have at least 3 numbers, but no more than 12 after a space. Okay. So now, what happens if somebody didn't have an employee number, right? Let's say that this that this, let's just up our game a little bit here. Instead of stuff, let's just get employee info as a variable and ask them to enter in your full name and employee number. Okay. Just like that. So if I take this variable now, employee info, and I move it here, okay, I want them to enter in their name, but if they don't have an employee,
You're don't have an E in the employee info at the end of the employee variable.
Thank you, Keith. All right. For a minute there, I thought I wasn't like sharing my screen or something, so I'm like panicking. So again, imagine you want to get input from a user, either their first and last name, right? And if they don't have an employee number, right, they're not going to be able to enter anything. But if they do, they need to like enter in like a space and then at least 3 numbers, but no more than 12. But look at our regular expression. Right now, right here, right? What can you tell me about this right now? Our regular expression is requiring a space and 3 to 12 numbers, right? Right, everyone? So if I run this code now, watch this. If I run this code and I type in Bruce Elgort space 360, we get a match. However, if I run my code now and I say here, Bruce Elgort, no match, but I'm new. I don't have an employee number. I'm trying to sign in here, or whatever I'm trying to do. But I want to accept the fact that Bruce doesn't have an employee number yet, and I want him to be able to like get a match here. So look at this, right? This whole thing right there is what is giving us the no match, because I just typed in my name. So what is the character that we used earlier to make something optional?
A question mark.
So Nolan says a question mark, right? So Nolan is proposing that that whole thing, the space and the numbers, right, from 3 to 12 in length, the numbers 0 to 9, should be optional, right, Nolan? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So what I can do, right, is I can put a parenthesis at the start, right, at that /s, and then a closing parenthesis right past the curly brace and put a question mark. And that means that this entire thing right here becomes optional. Let's test it. I'll just type in Bruce Elgort 360. It better match. All right, cool. But let's just say now we have, I don't know, Nolan Johnson, right? And Nolan doesn't have an employee number. Match. Let's say now Nolan, next day at work, has an employee number. Yeah, I know I did it wrong. And that's his employee number. Should match. Cool, right? Let's now say, let's say Becky, right? And 22. Match or no match?
No match.
No match.
Yeah, no match, right? Because we're expecting 3 numbers, no more than 12. We'll do Becky again with 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, right? Lots of 2s. match because it's not more than 12. And now that whole series, including the space and the 3 to 12 numbers after it, is completely optional by grouping it in parentheses followed by a question mark. Holy cow, right? So, you know, we've talked about getting input from users and using try except and all this kind of stuff, but never before did we try to get them to enter something that kind of matched a pattern, right? We just always got, you know, a sentence, a word, a name, you know, a fraction or whatever, okay? So this regular expression syntax here is doing it for us. And it looks cryptic, but with a little practice and a little knowledge, you kind of know what it does. Okay. So let's move on. Let's move on to another concept here. And again, we still have a lot to learn with regular expressions, but we got our, you know, we stepped in the lower end of the pool, the shallow end of the pool, and we know how to get, you know, letters. We know how to make a space. The plus sign means one or more repetitions. The dot means any character. The numbers 0 through 9. We saw how we could use the curly braces with either one number or two numbers to specify how many of these we need, right? So quite a bit of stuff. And the caret says start searching at the beginning of the string and the $ at the end. And again, it's really important to have that R so it knows that this is /s in regular expression, not a /s or a /n or a /b that you could have in normal Python strings. That's what the R is there for. All right. So let's do our second regular expression demo 2.py. Okay. Regular expression demo 2.py. I'm surviving. I'm feeling a little better than I was this morning. So I don't know what it was. So here we go. We need to import that RE library again, right? We can't do anything without it. All right. And let's get like for now, let's focus on a phone number, right? Like we're going to create a string and I will do my cell phone number 360-771-8819. All right. We want to be able to get a phone number from a person in that format, but not only get it, you know, in the format like this, but I then want to be able to know what the area code is. I then want to get what's called the exchange and then get whatever this part of the phone number is called. It has a number in phone speak, but I forgot what it was. All right. So how can we use a regular expression first to make sure we get a valid phone number, right, from a person, including the parentheses and including the dash, including the space? So let's work on this. Okay. Let's do this. Let's for now do re.search. So if re.search, we set up our regular expression kind of like we did before, R, and then the quotations, right? And then the caret inside and the $, right? And then a comma, and then the variable name we want to check. And do we need to do anything with ignoring casing or anything, given that we only have numeric input here? Anybody? Do we
Should we
need,
put is digit?
is there an RE dot is digit? But Chris, just so you know, we have parentheses and dashes and spaces. So we probably don't want to limit ourselves at this point to like ignoring case, right?
Yes.
So hold on to that for a minute, right? So then we'll print valid if it's a valid phone number, else we'll print invalid. We'll start making sure that the person gave us, right? And for now, we're just hard coding a variable with that phone number. So let's start to build out our regular expression. And I have my cursor between the caret and the $sign, okay? So we need first to have those parentheses, right? So those parentheses are part of the pattern. So there they are. I put an open and closing parentheses right after the caret. And then inside, I need 3 digits, right? So you remember, right? There is the 0 through 9 that I can do, right? And I'm going to show you another way to do this, 0 through 9, and then, right, 3 between curly braces, right? So again, I started off, I have an open parentheses, I have a square bracket, 0-9, closing square bracket, opening curly brace, the number 3, and the closing curly brace, and then the closing parenthesis, all right? So what I'd like to do, right, is build like one portion of my regular expression at a time. So I'm going up to the string that contains the full phone number, and I'm just going to make it right now, quote, open paren, 360, close paren, quote. And I'm going to run my code, right? Python of re demo 2.py, and I'm getting invalid, okay? So why am I getting invalid? Why am I getting invalid? See, this is why you don't try to do the whole thing at one time, okay? So phone, I'm starting here. I have my parenthesis, the numbers 0 through 9, 3 of those, and then a closing parenthesis.
Is a parentheses interpreted as something else?
Yeah, so to Nikita's point, right, you saw me use parentheses before. So if I put a slash in front of that parenthesis to what we call escape it, and then maybe a slash, right, before the last one, and I try to run my code again, now we get a valid area code, okay? So what this does, right, and you're going to see this when we wrap up with what are called groups, right? The parenthesis means something in regular expressions. However, if you precede it with the slash, then it's going to tell it that the next character next to it, right, which is this open parentheses, it's an open parentheses as a character, and it means nothing to the regular expression engine, all right? So Nikita, that was very good. So now we have our check for the area code built. So the next thing we need to do is have a space. So right before in our regular expression, right before the $sign at the end, we're going to put a /s, which is known as a space in the regular expression syntax. And if I run my code again, right, we still have valid. So now you can see that I have in my phone number paren 360 closing paren space. All right, cool. So I'll work on the next thing, which is the exchange, right? Which is 3 numbers, right? 3 numbers. So we need to go right before the dollar sign in a regular expression, and we need to put 0 through 9 in square brackets, and then use our curly braces to say we want 3 numbers like this. And just know right now that I don't think you can have a phone number or exchange or even area code start with 0. So don't hold that against me right now. We're still learning regular expressions. So already, again, if you didn't know regular expressions 2 hours ago and you looked at this, you would probably be like, okay. But now we ran our code and it's saying so far that's valid. In fact, let's just break it and do 2 numbers and make sure that when we run our code, it's an invalid phone number. Okay, cool. So what's the next character we need? A dash. So right before the dollar sign, I'm going to put a dash. I don't think a dash needs to be escape, but let's find out. So in my phone number variable, I now have paren 360 closing paren space 771 dash. Okay. So look, we're testing that everything is valid. So far, so good. And to wrap up this thing, we need to have 0 through 9 and 4 numbers at the end of our phone number, right? So dash 8819. And I'm going to run my code and see if it produces a valid phone number, which it does. Okay. But look at this thing. Holy crap, is that ugly? It's uglier than me, right? I mean, just look at that expression there that we wrote. And I hope you can appreciate the way that we went about it. We didn't try to tackle the whole phone number at one time. We took each group, right, in the phone number, right, the area code, the phone number, the exchange, and whatever this 4-digit thing is called, right? So are there any questions so far? We're not done, right? We need to figure out a way now to like get the area code, get the exchange, and then get those last 4 numbers, because maybe we want to do some data analytics on how many people are in the 360 area code, how many have the exchange of 771, right? I mean, stuff we do with data all the time. It may not be a phone number, could be like latitude and longitude, or, you know, some other thing. Could be credit card numbers, right? We could do the same pattern matching to determine what kind of credit card it is, right? The first several numbers of a credit card indicate which credit card company is being used. So do we have any questions about where we're at? Am I doing okay job of explaining it so far for those who may have known regular expressions or watched David Malin's video on this stuff so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep.
I mean, I've tried learning regular expressions, but I never really got good at it. So this is actually really helpful. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, you or me. I sucked at regular expressions until a year ago, but I'm much better at it now. In fact, I have a friend, a really nerdy friend. He actually took this class last quarter, and he challenged me to write this really complicated thing, and I was able to do it. And I kind of he gave me a T-shirt in honor of my being able to do it. So, all right, I don't think I've worn it yet. So here we go. Now, how do we like get right the information from this phone number, right? So it's kind of interesting, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just leave this code here. I'm going to copy it all, and I'm going to go into a different demo so we don't cannibalize this one too much. And I'm going to create RE demo 3.py. And I'm going to paste in that code, and I'm going to change things around for a second. Okay. Going to change things around. Okay. So I'll let you do that. Okay. All right. So check this out. Check this out. Right now, I'm going to comment out the if statements. Okay. I'm going to comment out the if statement. I'm going to grab the regular expression portion of the code, re.search, that big regular expression, all the way to the closing parenthesis. And I'm going to make a copy of it. And what I'm going to do, just for now, is I'm going to create a variable called phone number parts. I did that in camel case. Phone number parts. It's a big variable. And then I'm going to paste in the regular expression to the right of it. Okay. Keith, I think we're hearing stuff, or Evan, stuff coming from one of you. Just FYI. Okay. All right. So how do we now, like, there's some more stuff we need to do here, and it involves parentheses. So regular expressions, right? You saw us with these slashes here. They allow us to use parentheses to group things together. Now this is going to be, it's got to get it right, but check this out. Right after that first opening parenthesis, I'm going to put another opening parenthesis and another closing parenthesis after the 3. So I'm just turning on my air glass here for a second so I can show you a little bit more discreetly. So right here, I put another opening parenthesis, and right there, I put another one, because I want these 3 numbers, right? I don't need the parentheses from the phone number. I just need 360. So I put an opening parenthesis before the square bracket and a closing one right before the slash. Okay. This is going to be called group 1. Group 1. It's like when you're boarding an airplane. Group 1, you can now board the airplane, right? So that's group 1. So group 2 is going to be the 3 numbers next. So right after the /s, we're going to open up a parenthesis right here. And then after the 3, right before the dash, we're going to put a parenthesis there. This is going to be our second group, group 2. And then the last 4 are going to be grouped together as well. So an opening parenthesis and a closing parenthesis right here, opening before the 0 through 9, and then a closing one right before the $sign. So what this is going to do, right? What this is going to do is this is going to return to us true or false, right? Or something, right? Right here, right? So let's see what happens here. Let's print out right here, print out phone number parts right here, phone number parts. Let's see what this is, phone number parts right here. Let's see what it is. So check it out. If I run it now as Python code, Python, look what we get back. re.match object. So it's getting, like, it's evaluating. In fact, let me just show you. If I if I make it where the phone number is not valid, I removed one of the parentheses. Watch what gets returned. None. None. So that means that when this thing tried to run and match this phone number here, it wasn't able to do it, and it said no match or none match. All right. Okay. And that's kind of what, when we used it with the if statement, right? It came back and said, well, if you get some result back and not none, then print out valid, else print out invalid. But this variable now, right? We can use this variable, right? And get the extract out group 1, group 2, and group 3 from it. Okay, watch this. Print out phone number parts dot group 1. Look at this. So print open paren variable phone number parts dot group, not 0, Carolina, but 1. This is one of those method functions in Python that starts counting at 1. So check this out. Ready? When I run my code now in the console, I get a big ass error. Hold on one second.
You forgot to put your parenthesis back in your phone number.
Oh, thank you. Wow. Thanks, Chris. 360. So I was able to get the area code, right? So just know that this won't work as Chris indicated, right? If you don't have a valid search, but we'll get there. So now, right, I could like get group 2 if I wanted to, which should be the exchange. That should be 771, right? There it is, right? And then I could get group 3. Again, they're not 0 based. I don't know why. So group 1 is the area code. Group 2 is the exchange. Group 3, there it is, group 3. And it's the last part of the phone number. So you ever wonder, right, how computers, right, bust apart various things and extract meaningful data out of things? Here's one way to do it. But we're still not done here, okay? So the group stuff's important. And knowing that you could put parentheses around the various bits and parts of the data in your regular expression that you want. And again, yeah, we could have asked them to enter an area code, and then we could have asked them to enter in the first part, but no, that's not the way we do things. We enter a number like this, right? In fact, let's just take this one step further, and let's just make the dash, right, optional, right? Let's make this dash optional. So here is that dash, right? Right here is the dash right over right here. Come on, Glass, come on, right? Right there is the dash. What do you propose I can add right after the dash? And I know Nolan's going to say it, right? What can I add right there to accept a dash or no dash right here? Anybody?
Question mark.
Question mark?
Yeah, question mark. So there is that question mark, dash question mark. And again, this thing is scary, Nikita, when you look at this, right? Without, yesterday you had no idea what this stuff means. So let's go to our string now and let's remove, right? Gil, let's remove the dash and let's run it again. Oh, everything is kind of still working. I'm able to get, that group 3 out, which is the 8819. In fact, Becky now is like, oh, wow. Do we really want to require somebody to enter in the parentheses, right, around the area code? Maybe we don't. So we now go to that slash, right, parenthesis thing there. And could we add a question mark there after it? And same thing with the one over here. I don't know about you, but my eyes are starting to like get, crazy looking at this string here, right? And I can imagine when Bob's screen reader is reading this to him, it's probably really confusing. So let me now remove, not the space, we didn't deal with that yet, but let me remove the space, right? I mean, the parentheses, and let's see if my code, oh, look at that, it still runs. So, but wait, will it work if I put in the parentheses now? Doink, right? I put them in, let's run the code again, still works.
If you only put one parentheses in, it would still work too, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, Keith, you're right. Yeah, but, right, so Keith is like, Bruce, right? What if you forget that first parenthesis and you put the second one in there, and that's in group one? Let's see what group one still looks like. Ready, Keith? Here we go. I'm suspecting that my code is resilient and still gives us just the 360. And this happens all the time, right? Where it's like, what freaking format does the site want us to enter our phone number in? So we're kind of simulating that now, right? And I'm going to propose, right, that we take this one step further and that we let the person enter in 360-771-8819 like this, and based upon all of our existing patterns here, if I make, where is that /s right there? If I put a question mark after it right here, that I'm going to propose that we have given as much flexibility as we can to our end user, that as long as they enter in, let's see, 3 and 3 is 6, 10 numbers, right, that we're going to be able to extract out based upon our groups, our parentheses, and where they are, the various parts of the phone number. So here I go. There's 360. Let me change this now to group 2 to give us the exchange. 771. Cool. Now let's get the last 4 numbers, group 3. And holy crap. And now, again, let's just say that the person does decide to put in a dash. I added the dash to my phone number right there. Let's do it. Here we go. Still works. And let's say they decide to put in a space like that. And again, we're only allowing that one space right now. Look, everything still works. And if they put in the parentheses or even one of the parentheses, as Keith suggests, we're able to process a phone number. But go back a week. And if I asked you to write 4 lines of Python code that could get a valid phone number in this format, you'd have dozens of lines of code. Dozens, at least I would, right? And that's probably what I used to do before I knew, it's what I did, before I knew how to code regular expressions. But look at this spaghetti. Oh, it makes my head hurt, this big, long expression here. So I like regular expressions, and I suck at logic. That's the amazing part. Knowing this gave me a lot of confidence in my Python coding for some reason. It just upped my game, my skill set, like I didn't suspect, and I didn't want to learn it like Nikita, right? Or I did it because I had to, and I forgot how to do it. So.
Hey, Bruce, does the group method take more than one parameter? Can it be like 1, 2, and it would print the first group and the second group?
I don't
Or are they
think
going
so.
to-
I don't think so, Keith. I do not think so. But let's just up our game, and then we'll finish off class today. Let's now, again, we're gonna not learn much more regular expressions today, but let's just make this now a little bit more into a piece of code that will probably use our friend, the indefinite loop. All right. So let's invoke an indefinite loop. So right above that string that I had, I just put a while true. Okay, a while true. All right. So I put a while true. And instead of hard coding the phone number, right, I'm going to indent phone and I'm going to make it an input. Okay. So I'm going to ask the human, right, to input, enter your phone number in, I'll put XXX in parentheses, space, XXX dash XXXX format, right? I think you all can like understand that, right? So again, Bob, I created an input and I assigned it to the variable phone, and I'm asking a person to enter in their phone number, and I typed in like a pseudo phone number with parentheses and X's, all right? So what we need to do now, right, is we need to use this pattern to check to see if that phone number, right, is valid, right? So what I can do here is I can use, right, the same code that I had, right? And what I can say, right, that if, so I uncommented that, I indented the line phone number parts equals with the regular expression that hurts our head. And I can say if phone number parts, right? And I'm going to say not none, all right, just to be a little bit more explicit, because you saw right before that phone number parts is going to come back none if it's invalid, right? So if it is valid, if it's not none, right, that's what it came back with before, then we're going to print out, right, the various groups. I'll print out like an F string here. I'll put in like F and then my quotes, and then I'll put here in curly braces, and don't worry, I'll get you all the code. And then I'll put here like, what do you call it? Area code, right? And then I put in group 1, again, within the curly braces. And then I'll copy and paste that line, right, 2 more times, just so I can see the groups, right? And now I'm going to say, what do you call that thing? Area code exchange, and that's going to be in the second group. And I wish I knew what the name of the last 4 digits were. My phone friends could probably help me. Oops, I forgot double quotes, Keith. And Nolan, you're supposed to remind me of these things.
Was just going to.
All right. So area code exchange, and we'll just call it, what should we call that? Here, let's bring up the Google machine. What are last 4 digits of US phone number called? Line number. Telephone prefix, line number. So for our purposes, let's just call it line number, all right? And I'm going to make that group 3. But if the phone number parts is none, what do we need to do in order to ask them for another valid phone number? I want to keep prompting them. What What Python term do I need? Oh, by the way, I need to break out of the loop here above. And Keith, what was that again?
Continue.
Yeah, continue, right? Again, stuff you've learned, right? So just know though, this is only going to break once we get a valid phone number from our friendly user, right? So Python RE demo 3.py up, not none. It didn't like that? Not what? Oh, I have to say, no, if not phone number is none. I think this is the format where, let me just test it and then, okay, yeah. So this line that says, if not phone number parts is none, that's kind of the syntax, right? I want to make sure that it's not none, because none means invalid phone number. If not phone number part is none. Yeah, welcome. So now what I'm going to do is I'll type in 360-771-8819, no dashes, and there are the parts of my phone number. But now I'm going to play around and just enter cat, dog, right? Pizza, right? And it keeps reprompting me. But now I'll just do the parentheses, no space, 771-8819. Cool. I got my phone number. And again, I'll run the code again. I'll type in the parentheses, a space, 771-8819, gives me the part to the phone number. And I'll do one more here. 360 space 771 space 8819. Do you think it should probably allow us to enter in what I just did? 360 space 771 space 8819. What do you think?
Yeah, but my thought is, since we specified the format in the input, I feel like it should only accept the format that is stated in the input overall.
Oh, so you're going to be one of those developers now, Nolan.
Yeah.
So here is the dash, right? So we're saying that the dash may or may not be there, right? I think maybe I should be able to enter a dash or a space, right? So if I do this, where it's dash or space, I want to see, and it reformatted it, blacked it. I just want to see if this works. Ready? 360-771-8819. So wait, that worked, Nolan, sorry. Let's do 360-771 dash, the way Nolan wants it, 8819. That works. And again, let me just show this again. I'm allowing for a space or a dash and then the four numbers. So this is something new. This is something new, where I'll show you right here. Whoop, right there. I did a dash or, so it's a pipe, the vertical bar, a space /s, and those two characters, that whatever, either the dash or the space are optional via that question mark.
Why is it producing for like area code and exchange none when you do that?
Oh, I didn't even see that, Chris. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. I'll say it one more time. Oh boy.
We got a bug.
We got a bug. So this is all Nolan's fault. You know that, right? So we got a bug. We got a bug. So I'm going to, I need to this is how we do or, but I want this character or this character to be optional. So if I put it in square brackets, let's see what happens. I don't know about this.
I think it has to be in parentheses, maybe.
No.
Yeah, let's do it Nolan's way. All right, so what I did is I unbusted my code, and I'm famous for busting code, just like all of you. I just do it off, well, a little bit on camera, a little bit off. But I added square brackets. Nikita, not parentheses. Parentheses would create an additional group, just so you know, all right? So I put square brackets, and I put a dash, and then the pipe, the vertical bar, or /s, or a space, all right? And I made that entire stuff in brackets optional with the question mark. Okay.
So, quick question. So, like the square brackets, as opposed to the parentheses, square brackets sort of give direction to what you want it to do, right? As opposed to like grouping it in.
Yeah. The purpose of parentheses in a regular expression, Chris, are so you can grab the various groups of information that are in the string.
Right. And so the square brackets just say, like for 0 through 9 example, it says, look, you can use the number 0 through 9, or you can use, skip the line, so it gives direction to the code.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is a very discrete syntax in regular expressions. And what I'm doing here applies to all regular expressions. This is not just a Python thing. This is the same in Java, the same in JavaScript, the same in PHP. This language here is an agreed upon thing, all right? In fact, let me just take the opportunity now to take this regular expression right there. You see that? The R and this stuff right here, right? I'm going to copy this to my my clipboard, copy, okay? And we're going to just park this for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over in my browser to regex101.com, okay? regex101.com. And it looks something like you see on my screen here, right? And it's an overwhelming user interface, okay? And what I'm going to do, right, it says insert your regular expression here, insert your test string here. So I pasted in our regular expression, okay? Now, there it is. It's right there. If I go here and type in 360-771-8819, right? Let me just see. Hold on. It says does not match the specific string. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Okay, hold on. It's a little bit different on hold on. See, I wasn't gonna go here today. Oh wait, hold on. I know why. Hold on. Hold on. There's somewhere here where I need to change it to like Python. Hold on. It's been a while. Where are you?
I think you just need to get rid of the quotes surrounding the expression.
Is that Aiden?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. So there we go. Aiden, thank you. So look at it.
Yep.
Look at it. Look what's going on here. It's saying match group 1, right? Actually, hold on 1 second. Group, here we are. So it matched what I typed in. There it is. Group 1 gave us 360. Group 2 gave us 771. Group 3 gave us 8819. And you can see the colors here match when I click on them, what it's finding in the string that I type in. See this? So again, I took everything inside of the quotes. Thank you, Aiden. And as soon as I change this to the non-Nolan way, it still matches. But as soon as I get rid of, say, a digit, right, look, all the matching went away and my expression, right, is not seeing that this is valid. So I'm going to just go here and do that. Still valid. I'll get rid of the 3, not valid. I'll put the 3 back in. So what do you think of like getting away from Python altogether, right, for writing your stuff, starting at something like regex 101, typing in your regular expression and having a test string there and seeing how it's matching everything that you're asking it to check. What do you think of that? Is that cool? I mean, to me, it's cool as someone who codes, but it's just a tool that you can use to match, to build your regular expression. Okay. So I think Aiden used regex-er, right? Something like that, regexer.com or something like that.
Yeah.
So this one is regex101.com. And again, you put in your regular expression, you put in all of the patterns you want it to match, right? Like this. And it will test all of them to make sure that they all match, for you. Okay. All right. So I think it's a good place to stop because this stuff is mind bending. And again, this could be a credit card number. It could be a student ID. It could be the lines of code. We could be reading through a file one line at a time, and we could perform a search on that line to see if it doesn't start, whether it starts with a dash, a hash sign, or a blank line, just like the lines of code thing. And we could just do that same thing here. Would anyone want? Oh, it's time to go. So I'm done. So thank you for sticking with this. I know this is hard, and I'll hang out after class for anyone who's got some questions, and we'll pick up this, and we'll probably do one of the problems in the problem set, maybe 2 on Thursday. All right.
Thank you, Bruce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for teaching us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This was actually, I was looking forward to this basically all course.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Thanks for that. Do me a favor, if you haven't filled out those course evals, I got an email this morning. We're a little low. I told you they encourage all students, good, bad, or ugly, to fill those things out. So please do. All right.
Of course.
Let me stop the recording.